A mix of ideas, supplies, and designs. A digital scrapbook page with Patty Dabowski. How to maximize your time online with Jill Rotella.
Pedal pictures using software and all about blogs with Nancy Nally.
All in one. Scrapbook Soup.
Today's Scrapbook Soup has been brought to you in part by Spellbinders, dye templates for cutting, embossing, and stenciling. Beautiful details, inspiring creativity. Spellbinderspaperarts.com. Stamp, sprinkle, tap, heat, wow. Wowembossingpowder.co.uk. Sakura Color Products of America. sakuraofamerica.com.
Welcome to Scrapbook Soup, where we mix it all up. Mixed media, new designers, and more than pages. I'm Julie McGuffe, and this is Julie Faye from Balzer.
The overall theme for this season is journaling. Think outside the box with us as we look at words, phrases, thoughts, and how they all fit into our scrapbooking.
Well, to begin, we start with a very hot topic, digital. How can you use software, online resources, Facebook, Twitter, blogs, and lots more in your scrapbooking? Since digital became so popular with cameras, smartphones, and everything else, that's where all our photographs are, on the computer, but it makes it so easy for us because we can do return address labels with photographs on them. We can make our own announcement cards. We can even put digital photographs on stamps to mail the announcement cards. And this is another one for later on. But what I really like to do with the photographs, because they're all digital, we can actually make our own albums. I made this album, it's a wedding album, and I made it for my son's mother-in-law.
And you made it online. You didn't
No,
actually...
this one I didn't. I actually made this in Photoshop, and I printed it out on both sides of the paper. I used my printer, and it was just so much fun because I could be so creative. And I could put in as many pages as I want. It really is a custom book. And it was so much fun to do, very personal. So let me pass that over to you because you did mention online, because my daughter-in-law, she thought, oh my gosh, I know what I'm going to give my mother-in-law for Christmas. And so she did a book for me online, because you can upload all your photographs to Shutterfly and Snapfish, and the formats are ready there. So if you don't have Photoshop or Photoshop elements, you can still make a beautiful album with all your pictures.
You know what? We're going to get started, and next up, we're going to meet Patty Dabowski. Well, you know, the #1 question that we get on our Facebook page is about digital scrapbooking. And I'm here with Patty Dabowski, who is the digital scrapbook teacher, and she's going to teach us how to put together a digital page. So Patty, tell me how it's done.
Well, I'm using a layered template here that can be used with any software that uses layered files, and I'm using Photoshop Elements. So I'm going to come up here. I've already opened these. I'm going to go to File and Open and find them, but they're already open. So next we're going to go to the organizer, and I'm going to pull out some photos from a trip in Hawaii. I'm going to click on my Hawaii tag. I had 26,000 photos.
Wow, you like to take photos.
Yeah, but there's only 256 for Hawaii, but that's still a lot to make one page. So I want to make a page with my husband and my grandson. So if I click on my husband's tag and my grandson's tag here, you'll see that I come up with about 73, and now I want the best of the best, so I have star tagged them. And now I come up with just this many, which is 6.
And I want to talk about tagging for a second while you're choosing the photos that you're going to put on, and just say that that is a great way when you first upload your photos to just mark them almost like a card catalog or something like that. You indicate who's in them, where they're from, and I can see that you're just going to bring those.
I'm just going to bring them in. I selected those, and I'm going to bring them into the editor. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to layer this template. I'm going to double click on the template to switch to it and just kind of start from the bottom up. But I'm just going to click on the paper down here in the bin and drag it up and that'll put it in there. Now, if I want a different color, I can come up on the menu bar, Enhance, Adjust Color, Adjust Hue Saturation, and just move the slider.
Whoa.
And then any other color will come up. So that's pretty cool.
That's really awesome. You can match it to your photo, coordinate it exactly the look that you like.
So I'm going to click on this number 5, and I've dragged on this piece.
But it covered up what we did before.
It did, but then just like a die cut machine, layer, create clipping mask, and there it goes.
That's so cool.
I'm going to go to the next layer and then just drag this up. I've clicked on number 4. Same type thing. I'm going to resize it a little bit, check my check mark, and then layer, create clipping mask, just all the way
and you
through.
can still adjust it even after you've clipped it, which I think is so important.
Okay. Now I'm going to click on number 3 here, and I'll bring this in. And I'm going to use the shortcut this time, which is Control-G or Command-G on a Mac, and then
like any program,
it.
you get used to the shortcuts once you've used it for a while. And if anybody's confused, of course, all the instructions will be on our website.
On your website, right.
So let's quickly put those 2 last photos in there.
Just going to click and drag it up. I'll use the shortcut again, Control-G, and just resize the corner. And then I'm going to go up to the one that's number 1. And this was a 5-star photo in my book.
It is a beautiful photo.
So I'm going to put it up there at top, and then Control-G, and it'll clip in there, and there we're good. Then if you're ready to print, we'll just come up to, we'll make sure the little blue box is around there, File, Print. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the printer, I'm going to choose the paper. I can come in here, and under the settings, what I want to be sure to do is check borderless. So I've got 12 by 12.
So it'll print all the way to the edges.
All the way to the edge, and it does a really great job.
And I know it is really important to match the paper you're printing on to your printer.
Yes, and this paper I'm using is double-sided.
How cool.
So then the book is really thin, not so thick. And then I just click print, and then we've got a printed page right here.
And here it is. We've printed it out, and I can't believe how beautiful it looks. And it's so, well, it doesn't look like a photo that I'm used to coming out of my printer. It's so matte. It looks just like it was professionally printed.
Right. Looks like a regular scrapbook page.
It does, and it goes all the way to the edges, which I think is really cool.
Right.
And I know, of course, that this is using pigment ink, which is really important for our long-lasting memories.
It'll last a very long time, and it is water repellent, so there's a lot of good points.
So you don't have to worry about little fingers all over, too, especially because it's matte. You don't get those fingerprints. Look at me touching your page.
Yeah, touching all over.
And you have some other pages here.
I have a few other examples of templates. This is a very simple template, very easy to do.
And I love how you've made it hybrid, meaning mixing paper and digital with the glitter glue here.
The glitter glue
very cool.
Yeah. This page
I
takes about
love
a minute, this one. And
look at how you've put the photo right over, or I guess inside the title, right?
Inside the title, right. So
that is so cool.
So that's just a 1-picture page. Now this one here has a whole lot of different
photos.
But my son wanted all those pictures of his friends at graduation. So
this would be wonderful as wall art. Just slip it in a frame or something like that.
Yes, definitely. Very good.
Patty, you make digital scrapbooking look so easy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie.
And we will be right back.
You know, there's so many ideas and so many inspirational techniques on the internet. And Joe Rotella joins us, and you have found some fantastic techniques, and you're going to share with us some of your favorite sites, right?
I am. You know, the internet is such a great place to find ideas, to get inspiration, to ask questions, even to win some prizes. So one of the things, I was at an event, and people were talking about shaving cream and ink and mixing it together, and I thought, oh, that's never going to work. But I went over here to YouTube and just searched for shaving cream ink, and I found all these videos of how this works, and I thought we could do it today.
Okay.
So first we'll put a little dab of this in our hands, and we rubbed it in to kind of act as a resist. And now, Julie, I want you to take your shaving cream.
Okay.
And we're actually going to load some up here on the plate. And you can give it a pretty hefty amount.
Okay.
This is a great project to do with kids.
This is fun.
Super fun. Load it up and then just take some of this ink refill. And just put a couple, 3, 4 dots of some of your favorite colors. You don't want to put too many colors, you'll end up with a real mess, but I used it to create all the marbled papers that you see.
Yeah, I was looking at that Dad and Me project earlier, and I was asking you about the paper that you'd use for the background paper. That is really, really cool. And you said you'd made it with shaving cream. And it's like, you've got to be kidding.
And it's so much fun to do. And one plate will make so many pieces of paper, you'll be surprised. Once you have your ink on your shaving cream, just take a stir stick, and it's just like you're going to make a marble cake. You're going to swirl it around, not too much, because we don't want to end up with gray.
Yeah, it would look like mud, wouldn't it?
So we're going to swirl it around. I think I got a good mix. How are you doing?
Well, not as good as you, but I'm learning.
And then I'm going to just take a piece of paper and mash it right down in that shaving cream, all the way down.
Oh my, okay.
It looks kind of messy. And when you peel it up,
You know
if
what?
you didn't get all the spots, just push it back down in again.
Okay, it might look messy, but it looks fun.
It is fun.
Isn't it
is
fun?
fun. We did it at my house, and we ended up spending, oh my gosh, hours. Look at all the mess that's on that shaving cream, on that paper. I like to use a big scraper. You can just use a paper towel. But the magic part here is when you scrape it off, look what you end up with. Some beautiful,
Oh, that is neat. And you know what?
beautiful
It'll be
marbled
unique.
paper. And if you want more ink on it, just push it down in there again, scrape it up again. And that because you're using inks that go with your ink pads, it can exactly match any stamping that you want to put on your design. So you're just going to wipe it all off and let it dry, and you'll have a really cool background.
Okay, and
You
every
can
time,
even use a paper towel and wipe it off.
okay, and every time you do this, it's going to be different, and I like that because it's going to be so unique, and everybody will have a different piece of paper.
Every single time. Now, some of the other things that we found on the web, you could go to sites. This is just a personal blog that I've got. I post pictures of projects that I've worked on. I made a collage frame out of paper napkins. And it was easy to share how I did it. I just put a video on YouTube. So don't only go and look for stuff, but share back.
Right.
Let folks see what you can do.
Yeah, tell other people about it.
Exactly. On Facebook, find somebody that inspires you. This is Karen Taylor. I love her work. And on Facebook, she posts her projects, she posts ideas, she posts pictures like this necklace that she made. Connect with businesses. This is a local scrapbook store. They post pictures of their events, all kinds of things that they're going on, upcoming events, things that have happened. Or a supplier. In this case, this supplier, Wanna Scrap, they produce wonderful albums that I personally love and use, so I connected to them. And Pinterest, this is the hot thing right now.
Yeah, I love Pinterest. It's such a great resource.
And it's kind of like a bulletin board, and people pin pictures of projects that they like. So I found projects here that I really enjoyed. You could just search. This is searching for scrapbooking, and look at all the ideas for page layouts.
Oh yeah,
all
that's
visual.
great. I have a Pinterest page too now.
Oh, very, very cool. So I'll have to follow your
You'll have to
Pinterest
follow
page.
me.
And then I'll know every time you post something new. Blogs can be tremendously fun too. And this particular blog, they're giving out blog candy. And that's like a contest. You just read their blog, and sometimes folks will say, I have got blog candy. Leave a comment, and at random, I'll choose a winner. Well, I've got a whole pile of blog candy I just won from someone. And look at all the cool
this
stamp
is
pads,
awesome. You have
stamps,
so much
inks.
here, Joe. You can share this
What a
with
great
me,
prize.
right?
I could do that. I could do that. And then the same with Twitter. Twitter's like a blog, but very short. Everything's 140 characters. It's very immediate updates. This is Jennifer Priest's Twitter site, and she posts projects she's working on, links to photos, all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, lastly, one of my favorite sites
Our
for
favorite
inspiration.
site, right?
So
Scrapbook
not only
Soup.
use the internet for fun, use it for projects, connect with folks that you enjoy, but share back, because that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, it is. And that's what's so great about scrapbooking and crafting in general. It's you do it with friends, and it's fun, and it's always good to
And
share.
now these friends are all over the world.
Joe, thank you so much. It was just great having you
Thank you.
here.
Thank you. You know, oh, this is so tempting.
I dare you. We'll be right back without the shaving cream.
You know, with all the computer software out there, it's super easy to find a way to make beautiful home decor with your favorite photos. And we're gonna make this wonderful kaleidoscope piece of art to hang on our walls. So I'm starting in some software that I've loaded on my computer, and I'm gonna go right up to File, and I'm gonna go to Open Image. Then I'm gonna choose an image from my computer, and I just hit Open. And this is gonna be a photo of a friend of mine with her adorable son, Brady. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pick the kind of shape I wanna work with. So I just go up here to the shape collector. And what I'm gonna do is I am gonna choose, let's go with Flower 06 right there. And I just hit OK to choose it. And you can see the shape change right on the screen. Now I'm gonna place the image of Brady and his mom exactly where I want it. Now if I could make the photo smaller, I can make the photo bigger. You have a lot of choices. For this particular design, one of the things that's important to me is I want to make sure there's enough space around Brady and his mom, because I don't want their faces to get too curved when I print it out. Another important thing is here, I want to choose that to be in pinwheel mode. And if you look at the difference over here on the right, you can see that's in kaleidoscope mode and this is in pinwheel mode because I want each of those separate shapes. And then I'm just going to go right up to File, and I'm going to choose Print Separate Wedges. And that's because I want each piece to print individually. And don't worry if you missed any of these instructions, because they'll all be up on the website. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit Print. And I happen to have one here, which is already done. So as you can see right here in the printer, I'm just going to pull it out and you can see the image of Brady and his mom. And what I'm going to do is I am simply with my ruler, okay, I'm going to start right here at the corner and then I'm going to go out 3/8 of an inch. And what you'll see is that it'll be a slight angle. To make that a little more clear, I have one here that I've marked on the back so you can see how it looks. I've already trimmed it down. You could use a paper trimmer, scissors, whatever works for you. And then I'm going to use a bone folder and a ruler, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score right along that edge. And once again, everything will be on the website. And the scoring just makes it so that this is easy for you to fold and it doesn't crack the photo in any way. And I'm also going to do the same thing with a smaller set of photos, and that's going to make the center flower that I have here. And again, if I flip this over, I've just drawn some lines so you can see that again, I have scored it along the lines. And I chose another photo for that. You can see this is a picture of little Rexy. He's a cute guy, likes to chat a lot. The next thing I have done is I've added some glitter glue right across the top here. And really important, because this is going to determine the placement for your petal. Can you see the fold that's right here? All I did is I flipped it over, and again, with my ruler, I did only 4 inches up. And I like this ruler because you can just count the blocks. You don't really have to measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've creased it again with that bone folder right up to that 4-inch mark. Then to get it ready, all I've done is I've added some adhesive, just some double stick tape right here on the edges. So let's go ahead and peel off the top layer. That's just a protective coating for the adhesive so that it doesn't get all over my hands. And I have here, this is just a piece of mat board. It's an octagon. And again, all the measurements and instructions will be on our website. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just adhere one side, right like that, just nestle it up against the other piece, smooth it down with my finger, and do the same thing on the other side, right within those lines that I drew. And a white pencil is a great way to get those lines on there. And again, I just push it down. I'm not worried about my photo. I just go ahead with my fingers and mush that on down. Now, these are the 2 creases that I made that, remember, I said you had to be only 4 inches. And the reason for that is here is the small photo of Rexy where I've done the same thing with the glitter and the double-sided tape. The only thing I've done differently is I didn't do the crease down the center because I don't need to place anything on top of this photo. So what I'm going to do is this wedge line right here is the same as this line here on the board. I'm simply going to line this up, place it down, and then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up and place it down. And look how gorgeous the gloss finish is on these photos. It really is amazing. So I would finish out the whole thing, and if you mess up at the center, don't worry at all, because you know what? As you can see in the finished piece, what I've done is I have added a little flower. It's actually several flowers layered together to create a nice, clean center. So you know, you could take photos from a vacation, photos from a baby's birth. What a great gift to give a new mom. You could also do a wedding. There are just so many choices to make beautiful wall art from your photos when you use your computer. And we'll be right back.
Well, the overriding theme for this series is journaling, and we've invited Nancy Nally to join us from Scrapbook Update, and she's going to talk to us about blogging or journaling through blogging.
Yes, scrapbooking and blogging have become very tied together in the scrapbook community, which this relationship has become part of the industry itself, but also it's become part of the hobbyist side of the industry as well. because storytelling is becoming so much part of scrapbooking lately, where we're not just recording an event and we're not just doing dates and places and names anymore.
Right.
We're trying to tell a story. Blogging can be a really good way to actually pre-prepare your stuff before you sit down to do the creative side of your layout.
Okay.
And I'll show you my layout.
I know you brought some samples with you to show us.
Yes, I did. And here is, you can see my recent article that I wrote on my blog. And here's all my text.
Yeah.
And this was my little girl's recent trip to the hospital. And
we're basically journaling through social media, which is new. It's something that we didn't do just a few years ago, but now we have so many different tools that are available to us.
And when you sit down to write a blog entry, what are you doing? You're writing the story and you're selecting pictures to go along with it. When you sit down to create a scrapbook layout, what are you doing? You're trying to put together the story of what happened, and you need to go through your pictures and select your pictures.
Right. And
so when you blog, you're preparing your first step of your layout.
Exactly, because you have actually connected the two. Because we used to take pictures, we'd put them on paper, we'd journal about them. Now we're doing it through social media platforms, and you've put the two together in just a beautiful way.
And you can see how this worked on the layout that I made for this. Here is the selection of photos that I started with. Over the course of the day, that day, on my iPhone, I took all of these pictures. And this was actually a small amount of pictures for an event for me.
I know we tend to take so many pictures just because we can, right?
Exactly.
It's hard to hit that delete button.
I mean, even in a hospital, I was snapping away with my iPhone. And so, obviously when you look at the selection, there's a few that, you can easily eliminate, but, it's hard to eliminate, to figure out what to do.
Especially when it's your children.
Exactly. But through the course of writing my blog entry, it was much easier then to select out which one tells the story that I want to tell. So then I ended up eventually on my layout using these pictures. These three were in the blog entry, and I added this fourth one, which I felt was important for the layout, but which didn't end up
in the story,
in the blog entry. And this was in.
So on this, you've actually printed out everything that you've blogged. So you're
Pretty
doing
much.
It's dual. You're doing
I
hands-on.
changed my journaling a little bit to change the tense of it. Instead of writing publicly on the blog, this is addressed to my daughter directly. So I changed the tense a little bit. But other than that, it's very similar to the journaling that I wrote on the blog.
Well, that is really beautiful because I like the way that you've combined the two. And I've noticed on the blog platform that I use, there's actually an element where you can actually send off your blog and they will send it back to you in printed format, which I really love, especially when you're journaling like this.
Yes, my husband did that actually. He blogged the first couple of years of my daughter's life, and when he decided that that blog was complete, he printed it out, and we have it saved now so that we have that record.
Well, Nancy, let me ask you this. Why do we need to have a blog when we're also working with Facebook?
With Facebook, you have a lot of limitations. It's a walled garden. You can't share anything with somebody you're not friends with. You can't create a flow like I showed you in the blog entry where you have text with the photos in line with it as part of the flow of the story. You can post a photo and then put some text, but it can't be a whole story.
Okay, all right. Well, that's really important for us to know because, we do need to keep, we tend to put things on Facebook, I think, photographs and little things that we say about what's happening or we tweet about them, but then they're lost, So, and what else do you have to share with us? We were talking a little bit about platforms earlier.
Yes, there's a free platform from Google called Blogger. Good, solid, basic platform. Most people can get the hang of it. Then if you want to go with a little more premium help where you can get personalized help from the technical people, TypePad's a good way to go. It'll cost you, but you get a little bit.
But it may be worth it, especially if we're just starting, right?
Exactly. If you need somebody to hold your hand a bit and walk you through things, TypePad can do that for you. WordPress, if you're not afraid of technology and like to push buttons and play with things and personalize them, is a great way to go. You control everything all the way down to the server level when you do that.
Nancy, this is great information. Thank you so much. And we'll be right back. Well, this season we're finishing up each show with a journal, and this is actually a different kind of journal. This is a box of magic goals and intention, and it was created by a viewer, Busy Little Bee, also known as Carmen Flores Tanis. And she decorated the box. She actually painted it. She uses paint and paint markers, and then inside she has all these little cards, and each one is something different. She has something different on the back.
You know, I love this idea that you could journal in unusual ways on individual sheets and not have to actually do it in a book.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be in a book. Whatever is personal to you. I think it's just really, really cool.
Well, thanks for watching, and join us again next time as we have recipes for journaling and albums of all sizes, all in one scrapbook soup.
Visit scrapbooksouptv.com for a mix of designers, materials, and projects. All of the patterns and pages on this Series 200, all in one scrapbook soup. This is Show 201. Mix it all up with more Scrapbook Soup. A DVD set of all 13 episodes of Scrapbook Soup Series 200 is available for $39.99 plus shipping and handling. Visit scrapbooksouptv.com to order a mix of designers, materials, and projects, all in one scrapbook soup.
Today's Scrapbook Soup has been brought to you in part by
Spellbinders, die templates for cutting, embossing, and stenciling. Beautiful details, inspiring creativity. Spellbinderspaperarts.com. Stamp, sprinkle, tap, heat, wow. Wowembossingpowder.co.uk.
Sakura Color Products of America, sakuraofamerica.com.